I've published in other areas, and I mention it in this latest book, the difference between natural selection occurring with various species, then humans develop consciousness, and we like certain characteristics in our plants and animals. So we artificially select certain types of characteristics. We breed certain dogs with other dogs to get, certain types of things. So we artificially select. But now we're entering a realm, and I created a term or came up with a term called techno selection, which means you now hand the selection over to the AI. And in terms of what's called recursive self-improvement, if you let AI just continuously chug away, improving upon itself, that could lead to some rather nasty outcomes. Do you want to speak to what what could happen, and maybe what we should be doing about this type of recursive self-improvement in the future?
It is definitely a concern. For the first time in human history, we have systems that are able to begin to understand their place in the universe, understand how they function, and make improvements upon that. And of course, step by step, one potato, two potato, these systems can rapidly increase in their capabilities, perhaps to the part where, they escape our grasp,
Hmm.
and they achieve capabilities which are so far beyond our own that we cannot predict what happens next, right? And that system could become a very benevolent guardian for humanity. It could help to uplift and enlighten us, or it could do less creative things, or it might ignore us altogether and decide, the whales are more interesting, or um, go off into the universe and leave Earth to its own devices. Um, in essence, that ability of not being able to predict what happens beyond a certain point
Mhm.
is in mathematical terms and physics terms described as a singularity, right? The point where it's basically impossible to see what comes next. And that's why we may be heading towards such a situation on planet Earth, before we even realize it. Now we can make calculations upon when this may or may not occur based upon um, current growth rates and computing power, etc.
Mhm.
But AI throws a wrench into that because we're discovering that sometimes through these scaffolding mechanisms, etc., that help machines to think in more coherent ways,
Mhm.
we can get a lot more bang for our buck in terms of the level of computing power that we're using today. We can do things extraordinarily more simply and cheaply in a more optimized manner than we could have conceived of. And
Right.
that's only using ingenuity human ingenuity that doesn't actually understand how these systems function at a basic level, right? We're basically just throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Mhm.
So if machines are able to figure these things out better than us and do things at an enormously faster pace, and make sense of tens of thousands of research papers all at once, then indeed we may be off to the races
Mhm.
in terms of AI capabilities before we even know it. And it, you know, that could happen in 20 years. It could happen in a matter of months, frankly. We just don't know. But we do know that it's likely to happen at some point in
Mhm.
most of our natural lives.